Most people spend their entire lives waiting for the right opportunity, the right moment, or the right conditions. But what if the only thing standing between you and what you want is the clarity of knowing exactly what that is? Think and Grow Rich was published in 1937 during the Great Depression. It was based on 2 decades of research, studying over 500 successful individuals, including Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison. The title mentions riches, but this book is not really about money. It's about how achievement works, how certain mental patterns separate people who accomplish their goals from those who don't. Some of the language is dated. Some ideas reflect the time it was written, but the core principles about clarity, belief, decision-making, and persistence are as relevant now as they were nearly a century ago. Let's break down the ideas that still matter. Most people don't know what they want. They have vague wishes. They say things like, "I want to be successful," or "I want more money," or "I want to be happy." But vague goals produce vague results. The first principle is simple. You must decide exactly what you want, not someday, not when things are clearer. Now, this isn't about dreaming. It's about definition. What does success actually look like for you? What specific outcome are you working toward? What would need to be true for you to feel like you've made real progress? Without this clarity, your brain has nothing to focus on. You drift. You react to whatever comes your way. You confuse motion with progress. Here's what this looks like in practice. Imagine 2 people who both say they want to get healthier. One continues saying it for years. The other writes down, "I will work out for 30 minutes 4 times a week and lose 15 pounds in the next 90 days. One is a wish. The other is a decision. A definite purpose acts like a filter. It helps you say no to distractions. It helps you recognize opportunities that align with what you're building. It turns scattered energy into focused action. You don't need to have everything figured out, but you do need to know where you're going. Here's an uncomfortable truth. If you don't believe something is possible for you, you won't do the work required to make it happen. Not because you're lazy, but because belief shapes behavior. Think about it. If you're convinced you'll fail at something, you'll hesitate. You'll second guess. You'll stop halfway. And when things get hard, which they will, you'll use that difficulty as proof that you were right all along. This book calls it faith. But in modern terms, it's about self-concept and expectation. You've probably heard people say, "Believe in yourself." It sounds nice, but it's not very useful on its own. The real question is, what are you currently believing about yourself? And is it helping or hurting? Most of us carry beliefs we didn't choose. We absorbed them from past failures, from other people's opinions, from fear. I'm not good with money. I'm not a creative person. People like me don't do things like that. These aren't facts, they're stories. And stories can be rewritten. One way to shift belief is through repetition. Not empty affirmations, but deliberate mental rehearsal. If you want to build a business, spend time each day visualizing yourself solving problems, making decisions, handling challenges. Your brain starts to accept this as normal. Another way is through evidence. Start small. Prove to yourself that you can follow through. Each small win strengthens belief. Each completed task becomes proof that you're capable. You don't need unshakable confidence. You just need enough belief to take the next step. And then the next one. Here's a mistake many people make. They think success comes from knowing a little bit about everything, but that's not how it works. General knowledge is useful for conversation. Specialized knowledge is what creates value. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You need to know more than most people about the specific thing you're trying to do, or you need to know how to access people who do. Let's say you want to grow a business. You don't need a PhD in marketing, finance, operations, and sales, but you do need deep knowledge in at least one of those areas. And you need to build relationships with people who can fill the gaps. This is why continuous learning matters, not in a vague, self-improvement way, but in a focused, intentional way. What is the one skill that, if you mastered it, would have the biggest impact on your goal? Maybe it's public speaking, maybe it's understanding data, maybe it's learning how to write persuasively, manage people, or negotiate. Identify it, then dedicate time to it. Not when you feel like it, regularly. The people who advance fastest aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who commit to becoming very good at something specific and then use that skill as leverage. One of the most repeated themes in this book is the power of decision. Not just making a decision, but making it firmly and then refusing to be swayed by doubt, criticism, or temporary setbacks. Most people make decisions slowly and change them quickly. Successful people do the opposite. They decide quickly and change their minds slowly. Why does this matter? Because indecision is expensive. It drains energy. It creates anxiety. It keeps you stuck in analysis mode, waiting for perfect information that never comes. Here's a real-world example. Someone wants to start a podcast. They spend months researching microphones, editing software, hosting platforms. They follow 10 different experts who all say different things. They never actually record an episode. Meanwhile, someone else picks decent equipment, records their first episode, publishes it, gets feedback, and improves. 6 months later, they have 20 episodes and a growing audience. The first person is still researching. Decision creates momentum, and momentum makes the next decision easier. But decision alone isn't enough. You also need persistence. Most people quit right before the breakthrough. They try something, it doesn't work immediately, and they move on to the next thing. Then the cycle repeats. Persistence doesn't mean being stubborn or ignoring feedback. It means staying committed to the outcome while being flexible with the method. If one approach isn't working, adjust. Try a different angle. But don't abandon the goal just because it's taking longer than you thought. There's a concept in the book about temporary defeat. It's the idea that failure is only final if you stop. Until then, it's just information. Thomas Edison tested thousands of materials before finding the right filament for the light bulb. He didn't see those attempts as failures. He saw them as necessary steps. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be curling despite the fear. No one builds anything meaningful alone. One of the most powerful ideas in this book is the concept of the mastermind, a small group of people who support, challenge, and collaborate with you. This isn't about networking in the shallow sense. It's about surrounding yourself with people who are aligned with your goals, who bring different strengths, and who push you to think bigger. When you collaborate with the right people, you gain access to their knowledge, their perspective, and their energy. You also gain accountability. It's easy to let yourself off the hook. It's harder to do that when you've committed to people you respect. Think about the most successful people you know. Almost all of them have a small circle of trusted advisors, partners, or peers who help them see blind spots, make better decisions, and stay focused. You don't need a huge network. You need a few strong relationships with people who are also committed to growth. This could be a business partner, a mentor, a peer group, or even a structured accountability system. The key is intentionality. Choose your circle carefully. Invest in those relationships, and be the kind of person others want in their circle too. So how do you actually apply this? First, write down your definite purpose. One clear goal. Be specific. If it's financial, name the exact amount and the timeline. If it's professional, describe the position or outcome. Make it real. Second, examine your beliefs. What story are you telling yourself about what's possible? Is it based on evidence? Or is it based on fear? Challenge it. Rewrite it if you need to. Third, choose one area of specialized knowledge to develop over the next 90 days. One skill. One deep focus. Find a course, a book, a mentor. Commit to it. Fourth, make a decision you've been avoiding. Stop gathering more information. Decide, then act. Fifth, identify your mastermind. Who are 2 or 3 people you can connect with regularly? People who challenge you, support you, and share your commitment to growth. Reach out. Start the conversation. You don't have to do all of this at once. Pick one. Start there. Think and Grow Rich is not a magic formula. It won't make you wealthy overnight. It won't remove obstacles or guarantee success. but it will give you a framework, a way of thinking that separates those who achieve their goals from those who only wish for them. Clarity, belief, knowledge, decision, persistence, community. These aren't secrets, they're principles, and they work when you work them. The question is, what will you do with them? If you found this helpful and want more book breakdowns like this, subscribe. There's a lot more to explore. Now go decide what you actually want and start building it.